Hi. I've had a couple of questions about my backdrop, so I thought I'd tell you the story of how I came to paint this. I painted it when I was 17 as part of my A-level art course. We were required to choose an artist who had influenced us and write an essay to explain why they'd had such an impact on our own practice. The artist I chose was Raoul Dufy, who's a less well-known French post-impressionist. My history of art teacher was quite miffed with me. He wanted me to write a very academic essay about a serious artist. He saw Dufy as being frivolous. That's probably true in terms of subject matter, but what really mattered for me was the impact of his style of painting and his use of colour. On a simple level, his work just made me really happy. I wrote the essay, but then I had a vision for this screen that I wanted to make. I'm not even sure where the idea came from, but once I had the idea, it was quite insistent. I was very lucky in that my dad's a very good maker, and he was able to construct the screen for me. It's pretty enormous. I think it's 8 feet wide and 6 feet high, and it's double-sided canvas, so there are 2 different images. I wanted the screen to be reversible. I couldn't really articulate why I wanted to make it at the time, but I think it was something to do with my attempt to communicate how strongly I was impacted by his work. I wanted someone to be able to stand in front of it and be bathed in colour. I'd had that experience when I'd been to see the Rothkos at the Tate, and I'd felt them actually alter how my body felt. The only Dufys I've seen are actually quite conventional in size, but he did paint one very large mural, which is in Paris, which someday I hope to go and see. The most ridiculous thing about all of this is that I'd never painted with oil paints before. So it was the exuberance of youth and a certain amount of naivety that led me to just decide that I would be able to learn as I went along. We cleared our dining room to make a temporary studio for me, and I think it took 2 weeks of fairly constant painting to complete it. It was the first times where I was so deeply absorbed in making a work that the need to eat or drink or rest completely fell away. I just wanted to paint. Oddly, there's a tiny patch of the painting that's still bare. I didn't ever complete it. Again, I would have struggled to explain why at the time, but I think it was because I was enjoying the experience of painting it so much that I just wanted to leave it a tiny bit unfinished. It gave me the feeling that I could return to it. There were so many decisions to make when I impulsively decided to try and make YouTube videos. One of the few that was easy was what to have as my backdrop. On the one hand, it was a practical decision. If I had to wait until I had a beautifully tidy filming space, I probably would never have got started. But I guess the more intuitive reason for it is that I feel that this does represent something of my creative life. I love the fact that I have a piece of work that links me to my teenage self. As I got older, I lost that drive to make things, and as I keep saying, it's been one of the biggest joys of the last year that I've started to be creative again. I like having it as a reminder of how bold I was. And for me, to make the leap into making YouTube videos feels very much like I'm connecting with the spirit of my 17-year-old self. I learnt a lot from my previous video, mainly about how not to do things. I got so embarrassed by it that I actually felt that I might take it down. But I'm glad now that I left it. One of the things that I learnt was not to make my videos too long, so I think I'll bring this to a close now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a really lovely day. Bye!